What up, guys? Welcome to Music Blueprint. My name is Gina Fontanella, the co-founder of Music Blueprint, and I believe this is episode 19. And I'm not gonna lie, this episode might get a little weird. And I don't think the topic's weird, but to try to explain it or give insight about it over a podcast or a video can tend to be a little weird. And we are going to be talking about vocal health. And there are a lot of different things that go with vocal health. Obviously, vocal warm-ups is a main one. But we'll also be talking about how to just keep your voice in the tip-top shape. So to start off, we are gonna talk about vocal warm-ups, and this is the one that I feel like will get really weird over a podcast because I'm going to do some vocal warm-ups and that just might sound weird, but I think it's very important to warm up your voice. And I will say over the last year or so I have done a not good job, a less than honorable job about warming up my voice. And I think one of the main reasons is a lot of time I'm just working in a studio, so I don't really think about it. I'm on my way to the studio and I just do some lip trills and call it a day. But one, I think I can sing a lot cooler and sicker things when my voice is warmed up and ready to go. But also it prevents straining. And for somebody like me that struggles with like a lot of allergies and all of those things, vocal warm-ups are super, super important. So I'm just gonna give you two quick and easy ones. I'm just gonna give the quick ones, like you're on your way last minute, or you just showed up to worship practice and you're like, crap, it's 8 a.m. in the morning and I forgot to warm up and I'm singing the high harmony, which happens to me all the time. But the first one is just lip bubbles or lip trills. Very simple. You just put your lips together and you go, and you want to start on a low note and just do a simple scale. I'll try to start as low as I can without trying to hit the lowest note I can. So I'll just be like, and I'll just go up by half steps. And I'll keep doing that until, again, I'm getting up to the higher register where I'm not straining. It's just comfortable. It flows naturally. I'm not pushing, but I'm not trying to hit the highest part of my range. And I think one of the things that's very important with doing warm-ups in general, but even more specifically, I guess, to this warm-up, is don't push, don't anything. Don't be worried about, at the moment, trying to hit pitch-wise the correct note. That's another time, another place. When you're warming up your voice and just getting things going, don't push, don't anything. Let your voice just do what it is. If you're flat or sharp or whatever, don't worry about it at the moment. But you're just getting the flow and I don't want to use this word, but the fluids going and just getting your voice to starting to warm, and letting the vocal cords starting to loosen and get ready to do what you need to do. Because especially if you're singing a high harmony or you're singing any big notes, you've got to have your voice ready. The second one I would say that I do when I'm just trying to warm up quick is I do this, what I call the sirens. And I start really low and then I go high. And I whenever you're doing these warm-ups, you want to lift your soft palate. And again, if you're new to this and you don't know what your soft palate is, just take your tongue and you feel that hard palate, right, which is right where your teeth is, and you just follow your tongue all the way back until you feel like that little squishy part in the back of your throat, which just made me think of WAP. But the little soft part, not the tonsil part, not the dangly thing. Just take your tongue and you feel it, and you feel a little soft part, and you want that to lift up. And the best way to think of that lifting up is doing a yaw or a yawning. Yaw. And when you hear that yaw, You can feel that lift up in the back of your throat, and that's what you want to do, especially when you're warming up, but honestly, even more when you're singing. That just relieves the pressure, I guess, that you're in the strain that you're putting on your voice. When you flatten that out, a lot of times when we flatten that out, we're either scared to hit a note, so we flatten it out, and then in essence what ends up happening is actually you don't hit the note. You're either flat or sharp or pitchy of some kind, but you really just want to lift that up, especially when you're hitting big notes or any note that is on a vowel that tends to be a little more flattening. You want to get that up. So, but anyways, this going back to the sirens, I would start really low, and then I start going high, and I just kind of slowly creep up, and I'll just be like, and I just start going higher and higher and higher, and I make sure that when I hit the I'm dropping my jaw and lifting up as high as I can. Sometimes I'll do it on an A or a yaw, because if you're struggling a lot with getting that jaw to drop and opening up at your top part of that register, I'll do it on a yaw, and I'll go yaw, yaw, and another thing that actually I just noticed I did, which I'm not supposed to do, is whenever you go low, our natural instinct is to dip our chin low, right? So if we're singing low, we want our chin to go low. And if we're singing high, we want our chin to go high. It's actually opposite. When you're singing low, you want your chin to come up, and you want to go, yeah. And when you go up, you want your chin to come down. So it's a little bit opposite. And the reason that is when you go low, your vocal cords are moving at a slower rate. So when you go low, it gives them less space to move, because when they're going at a slower rate, they're expanding at a much higher rate, at a much deeper distance. And then when you are going higher, your vocal cords are moving at a faster rate. So when they're moving at a faster rate, you want to tuck your chin, because it tightens it up, and then it gets you up there. And it also, when you tuck your chin on singing higher, it gets you to drop your jaw more, and then let that note kind of fly out. But especially when you're singing the lower notes, you want to lift your chin up. You want that space between your chin and your neck, so that your vocal cords have time to move in the wave that they need to move to be able to hit that note. But again, just the siren one is yeah. It sounds just like a siren. It's very simple. I try to keep things in a very simple way that's very memorable. But those are just 2 tricks that you can do. Very last minute tricks. Again, I'll at least try to do them from anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes just to get a simple warm up. Honestly, you should be warming up a little bit more than that. Some vocal coaches would even say 30 minutes to warm up. I'm not that extreme, but that's not to say that I'm right. I probably would say that I'm probably wrong and just being lazy. But I have found with my voice that it doesn't take that long to warm up my voice. And honestly, most of the vocal things that I've been having to do have not been hitting these extreme ranges. So I haven't had to warm up as much, because I'm not trying to hit the highest point of my range, or I'm not belting. I'm just singing simple little things. So those are some quick tips and tricks. Again, I'm trying to run through in a very quick way, just quick things that you can do to help your vocal technique. And I'm most likely going to do a more in-depth video for my more experts and for my beginners as well. But one of the things that's very important, I know there are a lot of people out there that love runs. It is a big thing right now to sing runs. It's a big thing basically to have that soft Billie Eilish voice or just be a crazy run singer. And one of the key things with runs is, one, obviously practice your scales. You got to get either on a keyboard or find a vocal scale thing that practices each individual note. But more than that, the most important thing actually is to do them slowly at first. A lot of times when you're going to sing a note or sing a run that you've never sung before, and you know you were pitchy, or maybe you didn't think you were pitchy, but sometimes it's just good to do it slow because you'll realize you were pitchy, is you've got to do them slow first. So if I'm doing like, right? I would go, There's two reasons to do it this way. The first reason is, the thing about runs is you have to connect your brain to the note. Once you get at a certain point, you don't have to do that anymore. It just comes naturally because your vocal cords remember the pattern that you've sung 100 times. But in the beginning, you have to connect your head and your brain to the individual note in the individual scale that you're doing. If you're trying to do the Beyonce, the boy, right? You need to connect your head to the individual note so you know in your brain, okay, I'm starting low, I'm going up the scale, da 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 da, right? Then once you connect it to that in a slow way, then you can start picking it up. A lot of times too, the second reason why you need to do it slow is everybody has a specific break in their range where for some reason when I do this scale in this key or whatever, my voice wants to crack. And the reason why it's crack is because everybody has a different threshold of transitioning from chest to head, maybe some people to whistle. And those little breaks, those little transition breaks, you have to practice through them. And the reason why you have to practice through them is because when you know your break is coming up, your natural inclination is to pull back. And when you pull back, that's when you start getting pitchy because you're not pushing through the note. And the reason why you practice it as well is because when you practice going through the note, then you learn, oh, I know exactly where I need to switch my voice. The exact note. And I'm not nervous about doing it. I'm not worried about being pitchy because I've done this 100 bajillion times. And I know this is coming up and it's in my break, but I need to flip right at that moment. And when you learn those things about your voice, that's when you start building confidence and you start realizing, oh, I know what my voice does. Like, I don't know what somebody else's voice does, but I know what my voice does. And at a C sharp or a C sharp on the 6 scale, I know my voice is going to break and I need to flip right there. So that's another reason. The two things, again, I'll go over the two things for doing runs is, one, the reason why you do them slow is because you connect your brain to the muscle, the brain to the muscle. It's the same thing when you're working out, guys. When you're lifting a weight and you're first working out and the weight is too heavy, what are you doing? Instead of focusing on the bicep, your shoulder, your back is getting involved, your elbow's getting involved, your lower back is getting involved because you're trying to lean back and get the weight. And that's why you start slow, right? Or start with less weight, is because you start with 5 pounds, boom, you can focus it directly to the bicep, right? It's the same thing in terms of vocals. You're connecting that brain to the muscle, the vocal muscle, to learn it. And then the second thing is because you're learning your breaks. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about is vocal protection. It's so funny that this video is already at 15 minutes. I thought this video was going to be 5 minutes, and I realized there are so many things to talk about when it comes to vocal health and vocal technique. It's insane. I'm definitely going to have to do another video about this because I am just talking about the tip of the iceberg here. But the next thing we're going to talk about is vocal protection, and I think vocal technique and vocal warm-ups touch on that a bit. I would highly, highly recommend you never go into a session, a studio, a practice, anything without at least warming up a little bit, because it just protects your voice. And if you're trying to do this for the rest of your life and you're trying to do this for the long run, if you don't protect your voice, you're not going to be here to the end. That's just the facts, unfortunately. Or maybe you will, but you won't be singing what you used to be singing. I mean, look at some of the big singers today that are maybe older, there are very few singers today that can sing what they used to sing. And honestly, the only one that really comes to mind is Heart. They can still sing what they used to sing. So, and I'd be curious to see what their vocal technique and what their vocal warm-ups are and all of that stuff, because man, do they still got it after all these years. But anyways, back to vocal protection. The first thing, and this is the thing that affects me the most, is allergies. I have the worst case of allergies, and it seems like it's getting worse and worse. And I've been to the doctor for it. They put the scope down my throat and everything, and they literally told me, we don't think you're singing wrong, because if you're singing wrong, this would be so much worse. It is literally just because you have allergies and the nasal drip going down your throat. It's drying out your voice. It's creating irritation. And so I have been on a hard path to find the cure for allergies. And I haven't found it yet, but I have found a few things that work for me. One of the first things that I actually learned from an acupuncturist was to take a probiotic. I don't know what it is about the connection with the gut and allergies and stuff, but it just seems to create good gut health, and then that is not later on affecting me. I guess the source comes from down under, right? The source always comes from the root. So for some reason with the gut health, it starts there, and then if I can get the gut health right, then my vocal cords seem to be a lot better. I wouldn't say it's cured everything, but it's definitely helped. I have taken allergy medicine, but the thing for me with allergy medicine is it seems like I just progressively have to take stronger and stronger medicine. And then where is the cap at that? Also, I'm not a person that really likes taking medicine unless I absolutely have to. And I just haven't found allergy medicine that really just clears it all out and does what it needs to do. But I do make sure to take it a couple days before a performance. And that seems to really help me and really balance things out. Another reason why I try to avoid taking allergy medicine is it's kind of a catch-22. It prevents the allergies, which prevents the nasal drip, which creates inflammation. But the other side of it is it dries out your voice, and you can't seem to drink enough water to rehydrate your voice. So then the catch-22 part is, okay, do I sing with nasal drip that's creating inflammation in my voice, or do I sing with my vocal cords feeling dehydrated and then they're rubbing against each other and creating inflammation anyways? It's really hard to pick which one. Another thing I will do, if my vocal cords are feeling just really, really inflamed, before a performance, will take an Advil, maybe just one or two, and that will take the swelling down in my voice from what the allergies have created. And then the last thing I do, which I don't know if this is something that I have proven to help allergies, but it is something that I do just to try to maintain good gut health, and that is to take a shot of apple cider vinegar. I know some people put it in water because they like drinking it that way, but to me that stuff is disgusting. So I'm like, how quick can I get rid of it? And I'll just take I'll take a swig of it, like right out of the bottle, and then drink some water right after, because God, it burns. I literally feel like when I take a shot of apple cider vinegar, I have the line from hell coming from my body. It feels like it burns down to my chest, all the way down into my stomach, I swear. But nonetheless, I do think that it's helped the gut health thing, and it has helped my allergies a little bit. But again, I have no scientific proof of that. That's just what I've done. Let's see. I think the last thing I will say is that your vocal technique and your vocal warm-ups and your vocal protection are insanely important. And I know a lot of us singers have been blessed with vocals. And we take advantage of it a lot. And we don't think about that this won't last forever. And I just want to strongly suggest, please take this video seriously. Please take your vocal health seriously and warm-ups and all of that seriously, because the whole point of Music Blueprint is that you can do this for the rest of your life if you want to. And how upsetting would it be if you struck it big and became famous overnight? And although nothing really happens overnight, I'll just say that. But let's just say you became famous tomorrow. And you go on a tour and you tour for a year, and then your vocals are so messed up you have to get surgery and you're never the same again. So keep that in mind. It's very, very important to have all of the things that I mentioned: vocal warm-ups, vocal technique, vocal protection. Those are all things that you need to be doing to be able to do this long term. And I know this was, although I thought it was going to be a quick video and wasn't, but these are just little things that will help you that you can do. And they're really quickly, like just dip your toe in the water. If you're like, look, I don't have the time to do it, all the things that I just gave are less than 5-minute things. So 5 minutes is nothing. That's nothing in the terms of you trying to do this for the rest of your life. So please do those things. They really, really should help. I will do another video that goes more in depth for some of my people that are like, I already do this. Like, can we get a video that's has more techniques and more warm-ups? Absolutely, I will do them. But this is just a little tip of the iceberg, and it'll help tremendously, I promise. So that is the end of this episode. Try doing some vocal things this week. Get outside of your comfort zone. Have fun with it. Try weird runs that you've never tried before, because that's also the part of vocal stuff, is just having fun. So try those things, and I will see you next week. Peace.